Okay guys, so welcome back. So today is basically going to be like an accessory video because I have a lot of people messaging me asking that which accessory is better, which accessory is a must-have and so on. So I decided to make a video today. So of course, we're gonna be only talking about the legendary accessories. So we have the ring, British Glory, pendant, horn, whatever. So I'm gonna start one by one. So for ring, I think it's a must-have, especially when you're using skill damage commanders like Guan, Nevsky, XY, Nebu, Boudica, and so on. Of course, if you're using commanders like Charles Martel, Richard, of course you don't need a ring for them. If not, it's going to be a waste. So for Greatest Glory, I'm gonna pair them up with Vengeance. I'm gonna say them together. They're only worth it if you're using in scenarios like number 1, you're getting swarmed down a lot. Number 2, you are using commanders that have high counter attack damage. So to me, I think Vengeance will be the one you use for garrisoning, rallying if they constantly swarm your rallies. But usually people don't swarm the main rally, people only swarm the counter rally. So maybe if you are a counter rally leader, then I think you can have a Vengeance, of course. And then of course commanders like Martel Herald, Pakal Herald, then you will use Vengeance. So for Greatest Glory, I think if you're a whale in KVK2, I'm pretty sure you already have it. And I think Greatest Glory should go on commanders like Attila, because people don't really swarm Attila considering you have really good equipment. So you should have Greatest Glory on your Attila, because this Vengeance only works when you're getting swarmed. So I would say if your Attila doesn't get swarmed, then you can consider using Greatest Glory. So next, Pendant. I don't think it's a good equipment, but if you want to put it on commanders like Armani, then of course you can do it. But I personally prefer the ring more, because the ring, it increases your normal attack as well as skill damage if it aligns with your skill cycle, I would say. So I will skip horn for now. So for dagger, if you only can have one march, then of course dagger, you need to have it regardless. Doesn't matter you're a 1 march player, 5 march player, 7 march player, 3 march player, and so on. I've received messages from my friend. They say that there's a YouTuber say that Conceal Dagger is shit, because Conceal Dagger, you can only see the value when you are swarming the target. And the example he gave is actually 1v1. I mean, like guys, in KVK, you are not going to actually have 1v1 fights. If there is, then something is not right, alright? So, Conceal Dagger, so I mean, like, what he said is not entirely wrong, because he said that you want Conceal Dagger when you're swarming the target. I mean, like, in KVK, let's say you're F2P, you're only having 1 march, the probability of you fighting 1 against 5 is 0. You're not going to just go there and fight like the whales with their 5 marches alone. You only fight when there is allies helping you. Let's say 5v5, 10v10. That's when you're only gonna fight, right? Because there's no way. Even I myself, I don't fight 1v10. It's just stupid in general. So the probability of you and your allies swarming the same target is more than 50%, I would say. So of course, Conceal Dagger is really good. And as a F2P, of course, you would like to play a support role instead of damage role, because damage role, you really need a very good commanders and equipment. Of course, you can play half damage, half support, but the least thing that you can do, at least the minimum requirement that as a F2P playing in the open field, I think is having a Conceal Dagger, of course. Model Swap is shit in general if it's your 3 marches, 5 marches, but if it's in your 7 marches, then I think it's good. Let's say you max KVK tech, then you can have it as your 7th march accessory. Skurosaki coin is just shit, just ignore it, because any damage more than 500, your Scholar's Lucky Coin won't work. And considering commanders like Scipio have shield, Alex have shield, Martel have shield, Richard have shield, Sagan, the new commander infantry, have shield as well. And people usually put scholars with Guan. I think the only time you need scholars with Guan is when you're using Guan Leo or Guan Herald or maybe Guan Chiok, I think. But then CPO shield actually gives to allies as well, so I don't see the point of you doing so. Let me find the skill real quick. Where is it? No, look here. 30% forming a shield cover up to 3 ally. Damage factor 500. Exactly the same as Scholar's Lucky Coin. If you already have Scipio max, I don't see the point of you having a Lucky Coin anymore. And I've never recommend people to have the Lucky Coin. So yeah. Vengeance I've done. So Corrupt War Drums, we set aside first. Set score is just shit, just ignore it. Alright, 10% chance, increase attack for 10%. Maybe if it's like 15, then of course it's worth it, but 10 is not really worth it. But if it crits when you are about to launch your skill damage, then of course it's going to be worth it, but I don't think it's worth the materials when you compare to Corrupt War Drums. So the Corrupt War Drums and Horn, both of them are good and I own both of them. So just to prove to you guys, I can show you guys. Okay, so you see I have the Horn, I have the Corrupt War Drums. So the same guys say that Corrupt War Drums is shit in general in a 1v1 situation as well as hopping in and out of city. Yes, of course, because it's 10%, right? And if you're gonna play like hit and run, of course the Corrupt War Drums is shit in general. Of course, if you want to play hit and run, of course you're gonna go for Horn. And Corrupt War Drums is a support role. You put it on a march that doesn't die so fast because you want the buffs to continue to launch. Of course, if you do the maths way, it's probably around 10 turns you're gonna have the Corrupt War Drums proc once. If lucky, maybe twice. So for Horn, it's usually around 2 to 3 turns per 10-second time, which is per skill cycle, I would say. So where should you do your Horn? Where should you put your Corrupt War Drums? Horn is supposed to be on commanders that you want their skills to fire off first. The most realistic one is Guan, of course, because you want your Guan to silence the enemy so that you can slow down their skill cycle and other commanders can fire off their skills. And then when the enemy troop count reduces, the skill damage they deal is lesser, obviously. So that's Horn. And you can do Horn on like maybe Guan, Boudica, Nevsky. I don't really recommend it, but XY I do. Alright, because Nevsky, because I myself, I pair Nevsky with Joan Prime. Some people pair Nevsky with William. So the march itself is going to get rage from the skills from William, from Joan, depending on who you pair them with as a secondary commander, obviously. So I myself, I won't put Horn on Nevsky or Xiang, to be honest, because the reason are as follows. Number one, Nevsky, you have William or Joan to support the skill cycle, and then for XY, you basically get swarmed down a lot. So I don't see the point of you putting Horn with XY, because when you're getting swarmed, you're getting more rage. So basically your Horn is just a piece of shit when you're getting swarmed. So for Corrupt War Drums, I think you can put on commanders like maybe Trajan, maybe Boudica. I myself, I've tried with Guan. I put Horn with Corrupt War Drums. The fastest skill cycle is 8. Without Corrupt War Drums is 9, which means only Horn of Fury is 9. And then if none, which means no War Drum, no Horn, is 10. So I think Corrupt War Drums is really an accessory. You need a lot of luck. But of course, if you play hit and run, in and out of city, it's a shit equipment. It's a shit accessory. But if you push all the way in, of course Corrupt War Drums is one of the best accessory. It's not going to be number one number 2, but it's going to be in top 5, I would say. So in your 5 marches, what you need. So let's say 5 marches, you don't have Trajan, you don't have support march. Let's say only all skill damage, like maybe like Guan, and then you have like let's say Nebu, Boudica, XY, Nevsky, these 5 marches, right? So what you want is you need 5 Ring of Dooms, and then you want maybe 2 Horn, 2 Daggers, and 1 War Drum. But let's say you don't want 2 Daggers, you can choose to have 2 War Drums. The reason is you don't want 2 Daggers is because that if one of the dagger proc, the other one did not, which means it's 5% and then it's 6.5%, your 5% dagger, if it crits before the 6.5% one, it's going to prevent the 6.5% one from triggering. So to have 2 daggers, you need to be really lucky. It's either 2 special talent or 2 non-special talent. If not, 1 special, 1 non-special, you might have to specialize the non-special talent one. Because dagger, they actually stack. Let's say you have non-specialized, 5%, 5%. The first dagger crit, the second dagger crit. Then it actually becomes 10%. It has been proven by reports, of course not from me, I only have 1. It's been proven by the whales. And the other one is you don't want the debuff to drop. So you want to constantly have a health debuff on the enemy. That's why you want 2 daggers. And then for War Drum, it's okay, but you cannot be a hit and run player. If you like to play hopping in and out of cities, you like to play like touch and run, then of course you cannot use War Drums. At that point, I suggest you to change your War Drum to another Horn. So let's say you're using commanders like high skill damage, let's say Guan, okay, then you can use like Horn and Ring, Guan Yu, Horn and Ring. And then Nevsky Joan, Nevsky William, you can use a Ring with the Dagger. And then if it's XY with Nevsky, XY Joan, XY William, then Ring of Doom and Dagger again. If not, you can consider changing the dagger to maybe other thing else, maybe Horn, anything else, because you need to have the Ring with skill damage commanders. Boudica, Ring with Horn, and then another maybe Nebu Tomiris, Nebu Henry, Nebu Gilga, again Ring, and then you want a Horn, or maybe you can have a Korok War Drums. So basically you need 5 rings, and then 2 daggers, 2 horn, and then 1 Korok War Drums, or 5 rings, 3 horn, 2 daggers, or 5 rings, 4 horn, and 1 ring. Of course, I don't recommend this, but if you really have to, then you can go ahead. But then, let's say you are using, let's say your 5 marches, you have an Attila, then of course you don't need 4 horn, right? You probably only need 3 horns, and then your Attila, you use maybe a Vengeance or Greatest Glory paired with Concealed Dagger. So yeah, that's basically it for my point of view on these accessories. So I personally, I have 2 rings, 1 horn, 1 dagger, and 1 war drum. Next KVK, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna forge another ring. I need 3 at least. And then I'm gonna start saving my materials to do equipment, because I myself currently I'm thinking of maybe doing an infantry or cavalry march. So let's say if I'm planning to do a cavalry march, I think I would do Attila. I know Attila is not skill damage, but I really want a march that people don't actually swarm. So most probably I can do Attila Nevsky and then join Prime with William. That's gonna cost me around, I would say, around 1000 gold hits, because Attila around 690, and then William around another 300 plus, because I'm thinking of a 5551 William first. So Attila Nevsky join with William. Or alternatively, I can consider doing infantry. Because of my infantry equipment, I really want something that I can actually benefit from it. So I'm thinking of either Flavius or actually considering doing Tariq. So if Tariq is okay in the open field, then I can do Tariq. But I actually really want a garrison commander because I've been playing this game for like few years already. This is actually the second account, around 700-800 days, and I always wanted garrison commanders. And the garrison I'm actually using is still Martel with Scipio. Of course, you see Guan Scipio because all my equipment's on Guan. So I really want a garrison commander. So if it's infantry, probably Flavius or Tariq. And then if it's like cavalry, it's probably going to be Attila, I would say. Because I also have the equipment for cavalry. And obviously it won't be archers because my archer equipment is really shit, to be honest. Yeah, this is my archer equipment. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, if you do not want to have 5 Ring of Dooms, I think you should have 3 at least, and then the remaining 2 you can use it with this Ancient Stratagems. You can substitute it as the Ancient Stratagems. So why you want 3 ring is because of the 3 god as of for now. Guan Yu Scipio, Nevsky Joan, or XY Nevsky, or Nevsky William, and then you want a Boudica YSG, Boudica Artemisia. So you want 3 Ring of Dooms. So other than that, you can use Ancient Stratagems to substitute it, of course. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoy it. It's a little bit long, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye everyone.